These are top American gear now in the hands of Taliban fighters, which some were a part of SOPMOD program that the US government has spent over $400 million across 3 decades on components that significantly improve the M4's capability. While the SOPMOD garners both admiration and critique, the general public often sees Special Forces equipment as best of the best, but others sometimes call out the steep costs, such as overpaying, for example, a collapsible stock retailing for over $100 versus similar commercial versions costing a fraction, or justifying paying 50% extra on a rifle upgrade to just get a 5% accuracy increase. But let's start with the Knights Armament Rail Interface System as a foundational M4 upgrade component. SOCOM initially bought about 2,000 complete SOPMOD Block 1 kits starting in '95, and each rail cost roughly $300 to $400 per unit as part of the $128 million procurement budget through 2005. This rail allowed every other SOPMOD accessory to actually attach to the weapon. During early global war on terror operations, this became the visual signature of special operations weapons. But Knights Armament was at the center of the biggest SOPMOD contracting scandal. For context, let's imagine the military is supposed to let different companies compete to have the best performing products, but instead they kept secretly giving all the business to Knights by saying, "This is emergency and it's time sensitive, we need these now, and we are not messing with time-consuming competitions." While they were this established favored vendor, the suppressor sole source scandal was happening simultaneously, which made the whole thing look even worse because it suggested Crane had developed an inappropriate relationship with KAC across multiple product lines rather than just one component. And just like that, they got so bold, they actually gave Knights a huge 5-year contract while other companies were still trying to compete for the same job. And while government investigators were literally investigating them for doing this exact shady thing, which is like getting caught cheating on a test and then cheating again while the teacher is standing right there watching you. You'd be naive to think it's who you know and not what you know wasn't a major factor in these contracts. Trijicon ACOG 4X Prism Optic. The ACOGs were procured as part of Block 1's $128 million accessory purchase. When it comes to the effective range, the 4X magnification and the glass-etched bullet drop compensator reticle allowed Special Forces soldiers or even regular infantry soldiers to make precise shots out to 600 meters with their M4s. By 2005, SOCOM updated to the ACOG TA31 Ecos model with a mini red dot sight mounted on top. While the company was doing well, and the optic was just a damn good optic, but somehow they had to mess it up by quietly inscribed tiny biblical verse codes like John 8 verse 12 on combat optics for years until it was publicly exposed in 2010. For context, the inscriptions reference specific Bible verses, which became deeply problematic because American soldiers were carrying these religiously marked weapons while fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan, potentially reinforcing enemy propaganda that the US was waging a Christian crusade against Islam rather than a secular military operation. Aimpoint Comp M2 Red Dot. The Comp M2 was added to Block 1 procurement around the early 2000s as part of the $128 million budget. The M2, also known as the M68 Close Combat Optic, gives soldiers unlimited eye relief and both eyes open shooting capability so the shooter has maximum situational awareness while aiming down the sight. It replaces the old Trijicon reflex sight, and the 1x power is extremely useful in CQB scenarios than a magnified ACOG scope. But for distance shooting, the 4 MOA dot size can sometimes cover up the target way too much if it's too far away, and that's kind of like having a thick front iron sight post that completely obscures a smaller target. ANPEC 2. This laser device was a part of the initial Block 1 procurement efforts within the $128 million budget. This infrared aiming laser allowed Special Forces to engage targets or signal tactical maneuvers in total darkness without revealing their position while fighting enemies without night vision. The PEC 2 provided both an infrared aiming laser and an infrared illuminator to flood dark areas with infrared light. Think of it as a flashlight that is only visible under night vision. Soldiers could zero the laser to their rifle and engage targets without looking through their optic while wearing night vision goggles. This capability significantly gave soldiers nighttime advantages throughout the global war on terror. They can't see you, but you can see everything the enemy is doing in the dark. But since 2021, a catastrophic mistake during the Afghanistan exit caused thousands of these units to end up in the hands of the Taliban, because the US-trained Afghan forces simply just gave up and Taliban forces took all of them. Knights Armament NT4 Suppressor Block 1. This suppressor was included in Block 1's $128 million procurement budget. The quick detach system allowed operators to attach or remove it in seconds without tools. The suppressor reduced the 5.56 round sound signature significantly and also reduces muzzle flash. During night operations, an unsuppressed rifle creates a massive fireball that obscures the shooter's night vision, and the NT4 eliminated both problems while also reducing felt recoil. M203 Grenade Launcher. This grenade launcher and its sighting systems were procured within Block 1's $128 million budget. SOPMOD included specialized mounting brackets and leaf sight systems specifically designed to mount on the bottom of the RIS system. The M203 gave teams organic explosive firepower and the ability to engage threats behind cover from standoff distances up to 350 meters. Each Special Forces team typically had at least one or two of them. These weapons could fire high explosive, illumination, smoke, and less lethal rounds depending on the tactical needs. Daniel Defense RIS-2 Free Float Rail. In 2005, Daniel Defense was awarded the sole source SOCOM contract for the RIS-2 handguard after a competition against Arms Incorporated and Knights Armament. By 2010, SOCOM had procured roughly 40,000 rails to support the SOPMOD Block 2 program for approximately $12 million. Congress added roughly $4 million in fiscal year 2009 and another $2 million in fiscal year 2010 to expedite fielding. And then the RIS-2 came in multiple lengths for the standard M4 and the Mark 18 for specific mission needs. The free float design improved accuracy by eliminating the handguard mounting fixed point that can affect the barrel's natural harmonics, and the rail was lighter than the Block 1 Knights armament system. Elcan Spectre DR 1-4 low variable power optic. By 2012, SOCOM procured approximately 17,800 Elcan scopes costing about $18.2 million. Selected by SOCOM as early as 2005, the SU-230 designation became the most combat-proven optic in Special Forces history during Afghanistan. The Spectre DR provided true 1x magnification for close quarters and 4x for precision shots. The optic included a bullet drop compensator calibrated for M8055 ammunition, and also a daylight bright illuminated center reticle. But some didn't find it 100% dead accurate since they were using 77 grain bullets, and the point of impact can be few inches off. EOTech SU-231 PEC. By 2012, SOCOM procured approximately 17,800 EOTech sights costing about $11.7 million. The 553 model replaced the first-generation Block 1 version, which was the 552 model around 2007. The holographic sight used a laser to project a reticle onto holographic film, providing a heads-up display-style aiming solution. While the upgrade was an improvement, there were still problems. 5 years later, the US government actually sued the company for $25.6 million for providing defected products to the DoD and law enforcement agencies. The attorney blasted L3 for fraudulent double dealing. Basically, it means they were profiting from products that almost works. But almost works leads to losing lives in combat. This case not only resulted in a hefty settlement and refund program, but also seriously damaged the reputation of a SOPMOD vendor. And some people in the organization were pointing fingers at one another on how more testing oversight and honesty could have prevented this. Now moving on to the next item. ANPEC 15. September 2005, contract awarded to Insight Technology worth up to $50 million for about 25,000 units. By fiscal year 2009, SOCOM procured over 10,000 units costing approximately $31 million, and the total procurement reached about 14,000 units for $43.7 million by 2012. The Advanced Target Pointer/Illuminator Aiming Laser replaced the bulky PEC 2 and 5 models with a single smaller device. The PEC 15 combined infrared aiming laser, infrared illuminator, and visible red laser into one compact package. ANPV-S24 clip-on night vision device. By 2011, SOCOM purchased approximately 1,400 PV-S24s, costing the government about $9.3 million. The universal night sight mounted in front of day optics, converting any magnified scope into a night vision sight. The device used Generation 3 image intensification technology to amplify available light. The clip-on design meant operators maintained their daylight zero and could quickly remove the device at dawn. This capability proved critical during night raids, where operators needed to engage targets accurately beyond the effective range of night vision goggles alone, extending M4 engagement range to 300 to 400 meters in complete darkness. Insight clip-on night vision thermal sight. SOCOM spent over $5 million procuring thermal and fused sights by 2011. The thermal weapon sight detected heat signatures rather than reflected light, allowing operators to see through smoke, fog, and complete darkness. Thermal imaging could detect enemy fighters hiding in vegetation or inside structures by identifying body heat signatures. The device clipped on in front of day optics similar to night vision clip-on devices. These thermal sights gave advance warning of enemy positions and allowed teams to count how many people were inside structures before breaching. VBL-3 weapon light. So here is a light designated SU-233 that the military signed a potential $32.5 million contract to purchase up to 93,000 units. But only about 10,000 were ordered and the results were unsatisfactory. 3 became one of SOPMOD Block 2's notable failures. Naval Surface Warfare Center Crane issued a solicitation for a new VBL-3, requiring delivery of 10 to 37,500 lights over 5 years with demanding specs, including extreme waterproofing, multiple visible IR modes, alternative mounting rights, and other recoil endurance tests for all Special Forces small arms, and the results were unsatisfactory. Geissele Super Select Fire Trigger. Around 2013, all of SOCOM adopted the Geissele trigger through weapons modernization budget. Specific contract values weren't publicly disclosed, but available contract data indicates that the US government has likely spent between $1.5 million and $3 million on the select fire triggers over time, roughly $250 to $300 each. This precision match-grade trigger replaced the standard military trigger with a crisper break, reduced pull weight, and nearly zero over travel. The trigger dramatically improved accuracy and consistency, basically bringing 3-gun competition-grade performance to combat rifles. Geissele URGI Upper Receiver Group. This is a part of the SOPMOD Block 3 procurement that cost estimated at $20 to $30 million for tens of thousands of units through 2020. The URGI originated after SOCOM's 2008 to 2009 small arms carbine competition, where multiple M4 replacements were tested but ultimately rejected because none offered a decisive improvement over the M4. So instead of replacing the rifle, SOCOM shifted to incrementally upgrading it. Mainly it was about upgrading the gas system, handguard, and also to improve suppressor performance. Surefire SOCOM Suppressor. FY 2009 budget documents show SOCOM spending approximately $4 million on muzzle brakes and suppressors. The Surefire SOCOM series began replacing the Knight's Armament NT4 around 2011 and became standard with URGI adoption. The Surefire used a 4-prong flash hider as the mounting interface, providing quick detach capability while functioning as an effective flash suppressor when the can was removed. L3 NGAL Next Generation Aiming Laser. A 2018 USSOCOM contract was awarded to L3 Harris for $48 million. The next-generation aiming laser replaced the PEC-15 with similar infrared and visible laser capabilities in a significantly smaller and lighter package with improved laser power and divergence characteristics. The reduced size meant less bulk on the rifle's forend and less fatigue during extended operations. But it is not officially a formal component of an officially designated SOPMOD kit. The NGAL maintained Picatinny rail compatibility and offered more intuitive controls than previous laser devices. The laser's improved divergence meant a tighter beam at extended ranges. This is just a brief breakdown of most SOPMOD items since the beginning of it. As defense budgets tightened around fiscal year 2020 to 2021 following the peak counterinsurgency years, SOCOM's procurement budget faced cuts that put a harsher spotlight on how SOCOM procures and evaluates fresh gear. With Congress and defense analysts now demanding that future initiatives like SOPMOD Block 3 demonstrate clear value for money through modular open systems and commercial off-the-shelf parts to prevent vendor lock-in and reduce the kind of overspending and documentation failures that plagued earlier programs. For more in-depth content, please visit the resources below this video.